got to do the program, so whatever you need to do.
From Congresswoman Esty, but what I'm going to do first is introduce you a little bit, Congresswoman Esty. So, who here is from Waterbury, Meriden, Danbury, or Litchfield County, Farmington Valley, or Cheshire? Okay, we have a lot more Danbury girls. Wait a second, where are Danbury girls?
Brookfield, Bethel, Newtown, Litchfield, Washington, Kent.
Okay, well, we have about 20-25% of our girls are from Danbury, but maybe not all are here today. Anyway, Congresswoman Esty, so what happens when you're a congresswoman? What do you do? Okay. Go ahead.
Debate stuff.
We should be doing more of that, actually.
We should be doing more of that. So I'm going to give you a very super quick overview. So here's Washington, D.C.
Where?
I had the red dot. So that is Congresswoman Esty. You have an office there, right?
I have an office there, and I have an office in New Britain.
And how often are you in D.C.?
Well, I flew in from D.C. last night. And because unfortunately, I don't know if any of you have older brothers or sisters or in high school or college who don't get their work done on time and get extensions on their papers. But currently Congress has gotten an extension on its budget, and we have to go back next week again. We were supposed to finish yesterday, and we did not, because there's a big fight going on about building a wall between the United States and Mexico. So we have to go back and have that, continue that fight next week.
Oh, what fun. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple more slides here so you guys have some context. So that is, what building is that? Does anybody know? Go ahead, right here up. Haley. Anna, sorry.
Is that the state capitol?
It is the state capitol. Exactly.
That's the U.S. Capitol.
That's right, yes, U.S. Capitol. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. That is in Washington, D.C. Right. Okay, 3 branches. What branch does Representative Esty serve in? Which branch? Does anybody know? Go ahead, in blue. Legislative branch. And now you see how the arrows are down below? Which one? Which one? The House of Representatives or the Senate? Go ahead, over here. House of Representatives, right. And Representative Esty, how many members are there of the House right now?
There are 435 voting members of the House of Representatives. However, starting in January, there are members who represent the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and Guam and American Samoa who will have voting privileges, because it depends on the political party whether they give those folks voting privileges. So,
okay.
It's an interesting little factoid. So
little factoid for all of us.
435 by the Constitution, you have 435.
Now, does this slide look at all like where you were last night or yesterday?
It does indeed. We'll see when this was.
Where do you sit?
Okay, this was when Nancy Pelosi was up there and John Boehner. So let me see if I can see. I think that is me.
Oh, very good.
A lot of blue. Yes, yeah. That is for a State of the Union address, and that would appear to be Barack Obama. Yeah. So well, Barack Obama, and that would be me.
Yeah, our slides aren't necessarily current. We try. Oh, go ahead. Do you have a question?
I did not. He was speaking up there, but I have been in meetings with Barack Obama and actually worked with President Obama a lot, because I represent one of the communities is Newtown, Connecticut. So we did a lot of work together on gun violence issues. So I've been not in the Oval Office, but in the cabinet room, and have flown on Air Force One a couple of times. And actually with Gabby Giffords, I sat with Gabby Giffords, who was shot as a member of Congress, and she's done a lot of work with Barack Obama. So I accompanied her to his last State of the Union address and sat with her. So I've done some nice pictures with President Obama and Gabby Giffords from that.
Well, you've got a lot of questions.
Yeah, we can just go straight to questions.
Yeah, we'll go straight to questions. We'll move on to other slides if needed. Go ahead.
Have you ever worked with Donald Trump?
I have. Donald Trump signed the first bill written by a Democrat, signed by President Trump, was mine. And he signed another one of mine on Wednesday. And I have another one that is headed over the Senate right now, probably will pass next week. So I have about 26 bills, I think, now signed. Some by Barack Obama and some by Donald Trump.
point out something that's unusual. This is a nonpartisan program, so what we usually have, you would normally have a Republican representative, ideally to Congress, sitting next to you. And last year we did have a woman. She wasn't able to come this time. We're thrilled you're here. Hayworth, Nan Hayworth, from New York.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who used to represent the district actually just across the border in New York.
Yep, and she was not able to come today. She was sorry to miss you, but she, we would normally try to pair that. Okay, there was more questions. Didn't want to interrupt the question. More questions? Sure. Okay, well, so we'll go on a little bit more, and then I have a lot of questions for Representative Esty. So if you guys don't have questions, you're going to end up hearing my voice.
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
How long does it normally take to pass one of your bills?
Oh, that's a really good question.
How long does it normally take to pass one of the bills?
Well, I would tell you some of the things I've been working on for like 3 or 4 years has just gotten passed. So one that just passed this week, I've been working on for 4 years. So it can take, you have to refile. Congress, who knows how long a term is in the House? Anyone know how long the term is in the House? Yeah? 2 years, yeah. The entire House of Representatives is up for election every 2 years. How about the Senate? Anyone know how long Senate terms are? One of the reasons people love being in the Senate.
10?
6. How about the presidency? Everybody should know that. Yes, it is
4.
So you've got the House turns every 2 years. The entire House of Representatives is up. Then the presidency is every 4 years. Most governorships are 4-year terms as well. And the Senate is 6 years, so it's actually designed to kind of be rotating. And the idea is the Senate, only a third of the Senate is up for election every 2 years. And the Senate is designed to be a more conservative body. It's designed to be less swayed by the times. So it's designed to be kind of steadier and more traditional. And the House is intended to be more responsive to the people. So that's why everybody has to run every 2 years in the House. That's the idea behind why they have those different terms. How about the Supreme Court, which is gone back, which is the judicial branch, which is the third branch. Actually, you should know. Does anyone know what is the first branch of government? The Article I branch. Anyone know which one of the 3 is the Article I? Try.
I'm not sure. I'm guessing legislative.
You are right. And why would it be legislative? Why would the founders of the country have made legislative the first branch?
All for a government that was like run by the people.
Exactly. The government of, by, and for the people. And that's why the legislature is supposed to be supreme. In theory, that's why it's named first. That's why it has most extensive, if you look at the Constitution, there's more things on the legislative branch than any other. So the judicial branch is the third branch. And the executive, which is the presidency and all the executive agencies, is the second branch. And the judicial, which I'm a member of the Supreme Court bar, I'm a lawyer by training, and I worked and did Supreme Court work. That is the third branch. And sometimes, does anyone know sometimes what's called the fourth estate, which we consider in the United States to be an essential part of our government, of American democracy, and actually I would say any democracy? It's the press. So if you hear a reference to the fourth estate, what they're talking about is a free press, which is an essential part, not established by the government, but has always been viewed as absolutely essential for government to function and do its job. Yes, your question?
How long did you work for Barack Obama?
I did not work for Barack Obama. I worked with Barack Obama because when you are in Congress, my bosses are the 750,000 people, 750,000 people who live in the congressional district, the 5th congressional district. So my responsibility is not to the president, and it's not to the Speaker of the House or the head of any political party. My responsibility is to people I represent, my voters. So I've been in Congress now for 6 years. So the first 4 of those were while Barack Obama was president, and the last 2 have been when Donald Trump was president.
Have you ever met the first 4 ladies to be in the Supreme Court?
I have not met Sandra Day O'Connor. That's what I wanted to do. True fact, I wanted to be on the Supreme Court. I did not want to run for office. I wanted to be the first woman on the Supreme Court. When I was in 5th grade, I wrote a story about it. That's what I was going to be the first woman on the Supreme Court. And then Sandra Day O'Connor was named as the first woman on the Supreme Court. Couldn't do that. So actually, my boyfriend in college wanted to run for Congress, and I wanted to be a professor. And he's been teaching at Yale for 25 years, and I'm in Congress. So it is to say sometimes things do not turn out the way you think.
Also,
But I have met some of the ones who are in now. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I've met her. She's got a wicked strong handshake. Oh my goodness, she nearly crushed my hand. She works out every day, and she has these little tiny crocheted gloves, and she nearly crushed my hand. She weighs about 90 pounds. She's awesome. So I've also met Elena Kagan and Justice Sotomayor, who actually was in a law firm. Also went to Yale Law School, which I did, but she worked with friends of mine, a law firm in New York. Yes?
me.
Yeah.
Did you like Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
I do. I have a lot of respect for her. I recommend watching the movie about her, about how she got a start as a young lawyer. She was very bold. She's actually kind of quiet person, but she's a very strong person, very dedicated and committed.
How long did you know Ruth
Bader Ginsburg, I've only met her once, but my daughter's a huge fan, so, and I'm a huge fan. And I took my mother to go see the movie about
RBG. Has anybody here seen RBG?
It's worth,
Maggie, you're the only one? Oh,
it's worth seeing. It
my
actually
daughter.
was on CNN, so you can actually, if you look around, you can see it. Yes?
What did you major in college?
I majored in political science. Yes. Government, where I went. Harvard calls it government, but political science. But you can major in anything. I mean, I serve in Congress with people. One of my colleagues and friends was a large animal veterinarian, treated horses and cows and things. So people do all kinds of things. People in Congress have all kinds of backgrounds. And the woman who's now going to be taking over this position, Johanna Hayes, is from Waterbury, and she was National Teacher of the Year. So she was a high school teacher. So you have people who are teachers, you have people who have been firefighters, you have people who've been in business, you have people with all kinds of backgrounds who end up in Congress, although a lot of lawyers, I will say. A lot of us think probably too many. Yes.
Did you always see yourself in politics like when you were younger? Or did you like...
Well, I thought I wanted to be a judge. And I decided it was too lonely in some ways. If you're a judge, I worked for a judge for a year. And it was very, you don't meet with other people, you kind of are sitting with the books all the time. And I thought, like, you know what, here's what I decided. I was more interested in justice than in law. And justice is a broader issue. That involves politics as well. So it's not just what the laws are, but it's about what's right, just not about what's legal. I thought about being a professor. I thought about being a writer. This was not at all what I always thought I wanted to do. And I really didn't ever want to run for office. My daughter made me run. That's how I wanted to run for office.
That's actually the question I wanted to ask you. How did you get involved? So how did your daughter encourage you to run? What did she say?
All right, in 2005, so this is 13 years ago, my kids were then 15 years old. My daughter Sarah was 15. My son Thomas was 12. My son Jonathan was 9. They were sitting at the table like this, kitchen table, after school. I was reading a local paper, and I was a